Warning: the show you are about to hear contains muscular, intelligent, and intelligible sexy men discussing B-movies, and will contain movie spoilers. Only one of the previous statements is actually true. You decide.
So light that fuse and let it burn. There's no escape, there's no return. Exploding heads and synthwave licks. We're deep in cult classic kicks. Low budget dreams that never quit. Every frame a misfit hit. This is the B-Movie Blitzkrieg Podcast. This is Duncan The Baz. The B-Movie Blitzkrieg Podcast.
Welcome back to the B-Movie Blitzkrieg, the podcast where the monsters are rubbery, the science is sketchy, and the environmental messages hit harder than a mutant bear on bath salts. I'm your host, Duncan McLeish, your guide through the cinematic swamps of B-movie brilliance, where the logic is optional and the only thing more toxic than the waste is the dialogue. This week, we're heading deep into the forests of Maine, or at least a Canadian forest pretending to be Maine, for Prophecy from 1979, a film that dares to ask, what if pollution made bears huge, deformed, and really, really, really angry? Directed by John Frankenheimer. Yes, that's right, John Frankenheimer, the man behind The Manchurian Candidate from 62, The Bird of Alcatraz from also 62, French Connection Part 2 from 1973, and Ronin from 1998. This eco-horror gem features exploding sleeping bags, oh boy does it ever, mutant cubs that look like wet socks, and a bear suit so cursed it deserves its own horror movie. Of course, I'm not facing this environmental disaster piece alone. Joining me is the only man brave enough to wrestle a mutated salmon barehanded and still have time for a sarcastic one-liner. I give you, ladies and gents, the man, the myth, the legend, the Baz.
Guten Nacht, mein Führer. And to our listeners in the south of England, happy Bristol Nacht.
I've literally just come back from Bristol. That's where I've been. So I got back in today.
I thought actually mentioning the Crystal Nacht in a humorous intro was a bit much even for me.
Well, I'm. You know what? God loves a trier, so that's all I'm going to say. I'm excited about this one because this of the B-movie oeuvre that we're now in. This is our first blown full-out creature feature. Yeah. Of which, by the end of season 10 of this show, you will have seen them all. Literally, there are so many creature features. And the reason I picked Prophecy as a first run for us here is I've got a lot of fond memories of this movie, but of, like, if you were doing a highlight reel of, like, deaths in a movie, the sleeping bag death is up there amongst the like one of the best committed to film. It is fucking amazing. And it did dawn on me that was maybe a chance you had never seen it before. Was I correct? Had you ever seen this movie?
No, you were fully correct. In fact, really up until I sat down to watch this the other night, I know that you had mentioned like a mutant bear film, you know, in discussions about this. I didn't think it was this film because to me, I don't know, I think Prophecy, I don't know if I had like Wishmaster in my head or something like that. It sounds more like that than it does Mutant Bear in the Woods type thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there was a whole swath of these movies in around this time that are kind of based on like on the premise that nature will rise up and remove man. Like it's been prophesized that one day, you know, the wheat will inherit the earth, sort of thing. So I think they all have like names like this, like Food of the Gods and shit like that. Where you're like, absolutely nothing to do with this movie at all. So I am curious to see where you land on this one because I think there's a lot to love on this movie, but by God, does it move glacially. A movie that just really likes to stretch out a dramatic scene or two, and we'll see how that lands. But to do that, we need to get into the plot, which means we need to take our first break. When we come back, ladies and gents, we're going to get into the plot of the movie right after this. And welcome back, ladies and gents, to a segment that I've called The Bare Necessities. This is the... No, even a smell. Fuck you, Baz. Right. Bare Necessities, breaking down the plot of the movie.
Yeah. Got it.
The bear spelt B-E-A-R, as in like a bear, as in like the Jungle Book. Although burness. Right, fine.
I can't believe you thought that's the funniest thing.
I was howling with like tears streaming down my face that I'm like that. This world will never really understand the genius that is me.
That's why he has me on these shows, folks.
Otherwise, there's a reason we had to call the big dick back in to record with me here because we were floundering. Right, Baz, you'll not need 5 minutes here, but explain the plot of Prophecy.
Killer bear. Basically, as you said previously, Duncan, this is essentially a kind of creature feature film about a kind of mutated bear that's on the rampage in the woods. To pad that out a bit, there is a dispute going on between an indigenous peoples and a logging / paper mill firm. And as you said, it's supposed to be in Maine.
Yeah.
And for some reason, some guy in New York, I think, decides that the people to investigate this, rather than like sending in the police or anything like that, who he's going to send in is a public health doctor and his wife, who plays the cello. And they
she plays the cello well.
People. Yes, and they're the ideal people to send off into the wilderness here. They basically do that. They meet various folk, and there's a big, mad, fucking mental bear. That's it. That's as you say, they eke parts of this out way longer.
This movie is an hour and 45 minutes long, and this should be a tight 120.
The longest by far that we've done so far.
Yeah, it should be a tight 120, and that's including like 10 minutes of credits at the end. Like you see, they inexplicably send that guy, and it's Jaws. I mean, we're going to bring the scientist and send the scientist out into the shit. So literally, like
the scientist in Jaws was a shark scientist.
Well, this is true, Baz. Right?
This guy's a public health official.
Yeah, but he understands nothing. As a horror
sciences, apparently.
Yeah, he understands bears. I mean, they're like bears are the humans of the woods. So you know, it's the same thing.
See, now that was funny.
See,
that was way funnier than that Bare Necessities pish earlier on.
I'll tell you right now. See, when you said Bare Necessities, are like it's taken on a life of its own. It's going to go viral. This is how you make these things viral, Baz. You just keep talking it as that was fucking poetry when I wrote that down, and it still is when I look back on it. Ladies and gents, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, it's time to talk about the top 5 rad, sad, and bad moments in this movie, of which I genuinely think we're going to have a field day here. We're going to be right back to do it right after this. And welcome back to a segment that I've called the top 5 moments of Mutant Mayhem. We're going to break down the top 5 rad, sad, and bad moments from this movie. I want to just jump in and steal it, but I'm not going to. I am going to leave the sleeping bag to you to talk about, because I've seen it about 1 million times and it keeps getting funnier every single time I see it. But for you, this was the first time.
Yeah. Oh, that was in this film before.
Could I be a fly on the wall when it happened? What did you do? And explain the scene.
So you want me to jump straight to that? Right, hold on. I scrolled in my notes because I had reams of stuff.
Comedy gold, dude. If you don't do it, I'm doing
it. Right. So basically, there's a tenuous subplot with this other group of kind of hikers. It's a family, a father and a son and daughter. Who arrive in the wilderness at the same time as the scientist and his cello playing wife. And you kind of forget about them, and then they pop back up later on and they're camping out in the woods, and the son has this bitchin' sleeping bag that basically comes up over his head like a hood and then zips perfectly around his face. So it's just his wee face poking out like that. And the sleeping bag is yellow, and a rather kind of odd, almost triangular shape. And it kept making me think of 2 things. There was a children's TV thing called, was it Whiz Bang or something?
Oh yeah,
like
there was
that.
Whiz Bang, yeah.
And it had something that looked, but what he also looks like is the the Partick Thistle mascot. Everybody who doesn't, like, if you don't know anything about Scottish football, Partick Thistle are the third team in Glasgow, right? They're not Celtic and they're not Rangers.
Yeah.
They're Partick Thistle, right? They're fucking shite. But they've got this weird mascot, and it's been on the telly all over the world, this thing. Can't remember its goddamn name. If you could stop laughing for 2 seconds, you could be Googling this.
I'll do it while you're talking.
It was designed by somebody, I'm sure, from the Glasgow School of Art, and it's terrifying looking. Is it Huxley or something like that it's called?
The mascot is called Kingsley.
Kingsley, that's it. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I just saw it there. It's fucking horrific, and I see where you're going with this.
Horrendous, terrifying looking.
Yeah.
And they've still got it to this day. Anyway, reminded me of that. By the by, the mutant bear thing turns up at their campsite, takes out the father and the daughter in quick succession, and the son has now got up and is trying to hop away in his self-contained Kingsley outfit, right? And then the bear takes a swipe at him with its mutant claws. And then they've obviously freeze-framed, replaced the boy.
It's so good. It's so fucking
like
good.
a big yellow sack full of feathers. And then they fuck it off a rock. And it just explodes. Like somebody just detonated a chicken. A really big chicken. It was absolutely wild. I audibly burst out laughing. And I know we can say, oh, I was howling laughing at it. I genuinely burst out laughing. It's
comes out of
the
nowhere.
best sleeping bag based kill scene I have seen since the one in the Friday the 13th.
Well, this is where Friday the 13th ripped this off, because there isn't any before, and Friday the 13th comes after this. So,
do you really think the
I think
that sleeping bag kill?
Remember, there's 3 sleeping bag deaths if you're following Friday the 13th lore. The first one comes in, what is it, part 7. The second one comes in Jason X. And that's where he's physically beating one person in a sleeping bag with another person in a sleeping bag. And then it's the remake where the person's held above the fire in the sleeping bag.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Oh, no, there's one before that.
There's the one in Jason X at the start before he's killed.
There's one in part 7, I'm sure. Jason, I'm sure Jason fucks it off a tree as well. So yeah, it's the reason to watch this movie. Is absolutely incredible. I'm gonna throw it here a bad moment, mostly because it's one of those things where you're like, huh? So like the mercury that's in the fish that's making the fucking fish all fucking weird, and he just lets his pregnant wife eat it and doesn't say anything. Like, at all. Like no one seems concerned that she just munched on a fucking mercury-contaminated fish. In fact, he actually says...
They don't know at that point. They don't know. When
they don't know, but we know.
No, we've not... They do that, and then it's the next day...
You're right, sorry. Right, I'm going to take that back.
They then go to visit the... paper mill.
That's right.
When they leave the paper mill, he's like that. What's that silver stuff on your shoe? And then it all comes together just like that. Yeah.
You are right. This is the day after. I'm going to take that back. Baz. You know, I tried to throw shade at this movie, and you defended it like a brave warrior.
Well, one of the things that I found sad, and I'm going to have to give you 2 in the trot here.
Go for it.
The second one funny. So the first rad thing that I saw was Adrian! Can I believe she was in this film?
She is in so many movies in this time period, by the way.
And then I realised the other dude is the guy from Falcon Crest.
That's correct, yeah.
Which was one of my mother's favourite things to watch on television back with a fucking VCR, and I could only watch what she wanted to watch. So I was very familiar with Falcon Crest. But I will say, in this one, he looks like a fucking Greek statue.
Yep.
that haircut, man. It's like a curly crash helmet.
Like a curly crash.
Anyway, right, so that was pretty fucking rad. And then what is sad is, and I've written here, the fucking war crime that is Adrian's attempt at cooking salmon in an iron skillet. He should have flat out left that bitch at that point. What the fuck is that in that pan? You fucked that fish and you've ruined that pan. You think I'm fucking eating that? Fuck off.
Right. What about like our corporate villain in this movie, right? The paper mill exec. I love how he's like that. Well, no, the toxins are at acceptable levels. Meanwhile, everything in the forest is fucking mutated. And he's like, no, everything, nothing to see here. It's just a convenience that we've got a giant mutated bear fucking stripping everything. Meanwhile, they're pumping this fucking mercury piss out everywhere, muting everything. It is like. He's not even like a sleazy criminal. It's like, but I think it's bad casting on my point. I don't think he makes a particularly good villain. But that line is one of those ones where you're like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Do you want to know what made me sad, Duncan?
I always want to hear what makes you sad because people sometimes tell me that you are a walking automaton, unable of feeling.
What made me sad, Duncan, was that we changed the format from teapots. And I wasn't able to utilise my superpower for coming up with nicknames.
2 weeks in a row, man, honestly.
Because had I been allowed to do that on this show, I would be calling the bear the Toxic Avenge Bear.
See, that's great.
I know!
It's not quite the bare necessities, but it's up there, man.
Bear I laughed heartily when I came up with Toxic Avenge Bear.
Right, hit us with one more and then let's mosey on into ridiculous lines from the movie where I'm sure you've got one or two.
I'm going to hit you with two. Very
You're going to hit me with two. Hit me.
Final scene with Rawhead Rex pops up. Wasn't expecting that.
It's one of the greatest. Like the camera's like moving. I'm here, you bastard.
Watch this on YouTube if you're not, folks, because that's exactly what it looked like. And what is rad is so that is the very last scene, but just prior to that, the kind of final kill when our Greek statue for Falcon Crest just goes mental and jumps at it with an arrow and just keeps that. That's the ending Jaws should have had. You know what I mean?
Someone should have pulled Spielberg aside and told him.
Just big Sheriff What's-His-Face jumping off the boat and using his rifle as a club and just beating the shark and he'd do it till it dies.
Oh man, well, we can't top that, but we can talk about some one-liners, and we're going to do that, ladies and gents, right after this. And welcome back. So let's talk about some of the more ridiculous lines in the movie here right now. I called this segment, Did a Bear Just Roar in Slow Motion? And the answer to that is yes, it did. Baz, hit me with some ridiculous lines.
Yeah, I do have a few here. I don't have a vast amount. I will say the dialogue in this movie is not as bad as some of them.
No, this movie's played serious, that's why.
There was one that made me chuckle kind of early on. So there's a scene kind of at the start. They're sort of giving you the character of the doctor. And he's been approached by this guy. I'm not quite sure of his job. And the guy's trying to get him to go up to this thing up in Maine. And he's like, Vic, it's not my game. I'm strictly a rat-biting gas leak man. Oh, really? You wouldn't put that on fucking LinkedIn, would you? Do you know what I mean? Special powers, rat bites, gas leaks.
I've taken one down here, which when it's delivered in the movie is fine, but if you write it down on paper, it could be taken one or two ways. When you are in this country specifically, because the word can take on a couple of different meanings. On a night out with your pals. So that it says like that, you're talking about a monster, doctor, a legend. And then in my head, there's a wee wink at the end of it, you know what I mean? It's a wee bit of shagger, wee legend there. You're talking about a monster, doctor, a legend.
It's been a massive irradiated cock dragging along the ground behind us.
28 years later, I'm telling you, before it even happened.
Why do we keep talking about dicks tonight? It's all
I have no idea. There's a fascination that
really
I can't
weird.
quite work out why we're doing it.
Yeah. The next one I've written down as a funny line It's not very funny, it has to be said. And I've used the little crossed eyes emoji at the end of it to try and get across my feelings about this line. I've seen children born deformed, some so badly they had to be put to death. Sorry? What did you just say there?
It's not like it's...
You euthanized the disabled.
Yeah, with this doctor like kicking about in Sparta or something like that. Throw them off a cliff.
Throw them to the pit.
They'll never be warriors.
Dogs.
There's just a lot of this movie. Most of the lines I've written down are just like the repetition through this movie of just trying to... Like, you see the bear in this movie, so you know it's deformed and you know it's mutated, right?
Yeah.
But the amount of times the script has to reiterate that this bear is a freak of genetics, a mutation. Or, what about, I saw it. It was twice the size of any normal bear. Or, it's a bear, doctor. A goddamn bear. Like, all the way through this movie, we know it's a fucking bear. We know it's like that. Like the movie keeps coming back to it as if the audience aren't watching the movie. It's bizarre. Like they keep coming to drive this back. Like we caused it. See, in fact, we did this. It is man.
What's weird is they don't focus on the fact it runs about on two legs all the time.
Yeah,
now, I know bears can rear up and go, "Oh, I'm going to kill you." This thing runs about like a drunk jogger.
It's fucking Usain Bolt's through the woods. I swear to God, at times it's like fucking snap a neck. Is at the side of that camera and it runs off again. It's fucking nuts. And that's all the lines I had. I didn't have many lines. It was mostly just the repetition of it. It was one, a bear, and two, it was fucked. Yeah, so
that's all I've got. I think we should just get into the holes.
Oh, so many holes, Baz. Holes needing a plug-in. We're going to be right back to do it right after this. And welcome back to a segment I've called Plot Holes Bigger Than That Mutant Cub's Head. Couldn't get that out because the head was so fucking huge. I was like, right, Baz. I'm curious. So there are some plot holes here. We have mentioned some already tangentially. But what's the one that stands out for you? What is the worst offender in the plot hole of this movie?
So I don't know if it's really a plot hole, but it has to be talked about, and it is the depiction of Native Americans in this.
This problematic, Baz, is what I would use.
Yeah. They're still living in teepees in the woods and all that.
Yeah.
But the bit that's just staring me in the face is, why are they all played by non-Indigenous folk? You know what I mean? Including famous Italian-American actor Armand Assante.
Well, that's historically in America, although, once again, this is 1979 and that should have changed by then. But in the 40s, 50s and 60s, Native Americans were played in movies, specifically Westerns, by Italian actors.
Right, okay.
But this is 1979 and attitude should have changed by then.
I know. Even in the sort of... There's not a lot of Native people in it, but there's scenes where there's maybe a group of 10 or 12 of them there, and even there's only like 2 or 3 you go, all right, they're definitely Native Americans, you know what I mean? Even the tribal elder, I'm pretty sure he's fucking Japanese. Is it just me? No, and you put a fringed suede jacket on anybody, they're going to look vaguely Native American. Do you know what I mean? It's
almost as if America has an issue depicting Native Americans in a way which isn't grossly offensive. That's that's a conversation for another time.
That's food for thought, my friend.
That's a food for thought moment. That is food for thought. Here's a big one for me. The bear's size changes like almost every scene.
That was me waving at my wife. I'm forgetting to actually record this video now, so everybody...
That was the Baz waving.
Effeminate finger wiggle there.
That was Baz waving to every single one of you, dear listeners. Every single one of you. Whichever one felt like he did it. The bear changes size in every scene. Almost as if it's a different actor playing the bear in every scene. It's noticeably like one size in one scene and then completely different in another. And that continuity, I'm sorry, is a big plot hole, because I understand if it continues to get big, like Godzilla continues to increase size, that can't be like big, small, big. That is just like fucking throws me all that. Terrible. Terrible. Put it in the bin, except I really enjoy this movie. And I'll tell you how much I enjoy this movie, Baz, when we score it, which is coming up right after this. And welcome back. So it's time to discuss the scoring for this movie in a segment I've called 5 Toxic Fish out of 5. Baz. Out of 5, what are you giving Prophecy?
I'm fully on board with giving this a 4.
Twinning for winning, by the way, that's exactly what I've got for this movie. So.
I genuinely liked this film, even more than enjoyed it. I really did quite like it. And I was talking off air to you, I feel kind of bad that this gets classed as a B movie. This is, like, compared to the films that we have done previously,
yes,
acting is light years ahead of anything else.
Oh yeah, because there's actual established actors, yes.
Yeah, so that as well. So you've got Talia Shire, whatever her name was, out of Rockies in it.
Yep.
The boy from Falcon Crest at this time would have been a bit, a fairly big name in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. The plot's pretty decent. It's talking about environmental issues way ahead of its time, like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And trying to do it. The effects, they're dated now. And as we discussed off air, you've got the whole high definition issue coming in now, right? But sleeping bag kill aside, because
I love sleeping bag kill.
I'm not saying it's not amazing, but it's mental. But that aside, it's a film of its time. Do you know what I mean? You weren't getting cutting edge computer graphic special effects. I actually thought this film was really good. I would recommend this film to people.
I think, like, if you're doing a deep dive into kind of creature feature movies, especially the weird subgenre that is eco horror creature feature movies, it's up the top for me. I think it is one of the better ones, and it's because you have a bona fide, actually really great director, and you have like actors who are actually taking the plot seriously. I mean, this is a man in a rubber suit running about the place, but everyone is acting like they would if a giant mutated bear was running about the place, which I like. Listen, game respects game in that capacity. So, I'm gonna join you as well, and I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 5. And I'm also gonna back up exactly what you said. If you've never seen it before, watch Prophecy. You will have a ball
definitely.
Okay, then let's bring this in for a close. Right, and with that, Baz, we have reached the end of our Prophecy, a film where the real monster isn't the bear. It's not the bear. It's the environmental negligence, the questionable science, and the fact that someone thought that any of this was a good idea. A massive thanks, as always, to the Baz, who once again braved the mutant-infested wilderness with nothing more than a pair of assless chaps, a grin, and a can of beer spray. We do it for you, dear listeners, and because no one has invented a vaccine for B-movie addiction, once they give it to us, we might slow down. Or we might snort it, because we're not against doing that either. If you survived the mercury poisoning and still have a brain cell to spare, then make sure you subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your questionable content. Leave us a review or a sample of your drinking water, whichever one is more contaminated. Next time on the B-Movie Blitzkrieg, oh dear, we are strapping on our jet boots. We're heading across the 8th dimension with the adventures of Buckaroo Banzai, a film that features aliens, brain surgery, rock and roll, and a hero who is part scientist, part samurai, and an all 1980s cocaine fiend. That's right. He may or may not take cocaine in the movie. He doesn't, but the person that wrote the script certainly fucking did. That's all I'm saying. On all of it. It is a movie fueled by cocaine. I cannot wait for you to watch it. But until then, stay groovy, stay grindhouse, and remember, here at the B-Movie Blitzkrieg, the bizarre meets the brilliant. One B-movie at a time. Baz, say goodbye to our listeners, please.
Auf Wiedersehen, mein Freunds. Roll Panzers. Blitzkrieg!